Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Tower Talk Business Radio brings you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation, including expert consultants and small business owners who have found success, but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their first-hand experience. And now, let's get down to business with Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation.
Hello, and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Nephew Business Banking, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand marketing and digital agency. And we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Ray and I bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry. Now, Ray, I've been doing a lot of research.
Yes.
So, according to a study in 2017, Americans are $12.58 trillion in debt. You know, the average household owes $16,091, and the total student debt is $1 trillion.
Oh, wow. So you're set up to fail. It's rough, and that's why we're pretty happy about today's guest. We have a debt resolution expert in our midst. Helping us with business empowerment today is our guest, debt resolution attorney, Leslie H. Tayne, Esquire. Leslie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
Yes,
we're very excited. Now, Leslie is an award-winning financial debt resolution attorney and author of Life and Debt. Leslie H. Tayne of Leslie Tayne Law Group, PC, has 20 years experience practicing in the area of consumer and business financial debt-related services. She's the founder and managing director of Tayne Law Group, PC, a firm dedicated to debt management resolution and bankruptcy alternatives. As a frequently sought-out financial debt expert and speaker, she regularly provides her insight and strategies regarding all areas of debt, as well as tips for budgeting and money-saving techniques, earning many accolades and serving clients across the country. And I'm very excited to personally learn from you myself. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about your how you got to become the expert in this area.
So I have been practicing in the area of consumer and business debt resolution for over 20 years. I started out as an in-house counsel to a national company, and then I opened my own practice, specifically geared towards helping individuals and business owners resolve debt. I realized that there was a missing link in the legal field for debt resolution and financial attorney, and I was able to capitalize on the opportunity to provide that type of service. So my practice only is geared towards debt resolution and alternatives to bankruptcy. What that means is that we don't file bankruptcy at our office. There are a lot of debt resolution bankruptcy attorneys out there, but we're not one of them. We are specifically geared to finding solutions and strategies for people who have any type of debt where they are, one, looking to avoid bankruptcy, but also really looking for a strategy and solution that makes sense for their personal financial situation.
Now, right there, your focus tells me a differentiator. It's so tough when it comes to this subject. It's a tough subject for some folks to even talk about, much less find someone to trust. There's a lot of predatory people out there. So how do you differentiate yourself and get to be in front of somebody who really needs your help?
So you made a good point in stating that there are a lot of predatory companies out there looking to capitalize on individuals and business people who are suffering financially. And when you're in that type of situation, you're not really making good or clear decisions. It's very stressful. Yeah. So what really differentiates myself and my firm from everybody else is that we are not a one-stop shop, one-size-fits-all type of corporation. We are looking to help that individual, the business owner, with their particular financial circumstances. So what that means is that each one of us has a different financial DNA. So even though you and I might both have an American Express card, or we both might have the same amount of debt, hypothetically, that doesn't mean that your situation and my situation, the resolution solutions make sense. So I have a different family and financial situation, as do you. So when we look at the difference between us and anybody else out there, one, there's the phone calls to our office are always free. The individual's never on the clock. We're making sure that that individual and the company that we're working with are handheld through the entire process. So we're really going to find out what works best for that individual. And, you know, as an attorney and a law firm, we're definitely held to a higher ethical standard than traditional debt consolidation and settlement companies. We're not the typical company. We have the money's held in my attorney trust account, and I answer to a higher authority should something go wrong. There's definitely a catch-all for that. In addition, what most people don't know is that the funds are not just in a typical traditional trust account. They're actually in a specialized type of a bank account where there's an additional insurance policy on it. So there's so many pieces of the puzzle that allow individuals and consumers to feel much more safe and comfortable working with the Tayne Law Group.
Now, Leslie, what is that number one tip that you see across the board? I know, you know, you're definitely not a cookie cutter company, but what is the one theme, the story that you see people repeating over and over and over again?
The one thing I hear often is, I should have come to you sooner. I didn't realize you were out there, or I should have come to you sooner. What ends up happening is that when people first get into debt, they think that it's a temporary situation. Either there was a loss of job, a medical issue, less hours, the account that they thought they were going to be able to convert didn't come in, receivables didn't come in. Whatever the reason is where there was a hiccup in the financial circumstances, those people then think the knee-jerk reaction is, I'll go take a loan. I'll take a home equity line of credit. I'll get a personal loan. I can refinance this or that, and they look immediately for ways to get additional funding. That doesn't resolve the underlying issue, and the underlying issue, the common denominator in any debt situation, is really related to cash flow. So then what ends up happening is they basically have robbed Peter to pay Paul. They've turned an orange into an apple, and it's still a fruit. So later on they come back to me and they'll say, you know, I have a loan and credit card debt and this additional debt. What do I do about it? And then when we discuss what options are available to them and the strategies that we could use to resolve it, the common comment is, I wish I saw you sooner.
Yeah, as a banker, it's kind of funny because I totally agree. As a banker, that's kind of what we see. And, you know, when people misuse those products, also it affects future decisions, and it hurts them with regards to making sound financial decisions later because they can't do it the way that they should. So,
no doubt.
Yeah, huge point there. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Bostonhill, and our guest today is debt resolution attorney Leslie H. Tayne, Esquire. So tell us a story about how your services really made an impact on a particular client. Certainly you don't have to name names, but if you could share with us a story.
So there are so many stories that come to mind. I mean, I've really worked with thousands of people in so many different circumstances. I think that in terms of some of the most difficult circumstances, recently we had what was really an unfortunate situation. Again, when we talk about the type of debt that we work with all different kinds. This older woman had a much older woman, I'm going to state, she's definitely in the elderly range. She had a lien against her as a result of an action that was brought against her that was not properly managed, and she then is in a situation where they're going to try to foreclose now on a property that she owns, and she's just completely overwhelmed and really stressed out and she wasn't really sure what to do, and it took her a long time to find me, and in that situation we were able to offer her some strategies that made sense under the circumstances. All the strategies that we offer to clients may not be what they would consider the best of the best in terms of, listen, we all want to make the debt go away, right? I mean, that's what and we do make the debt go away, but there's a path to make the debt go away, and sometimes that path is not a path that they would have thought of, but yet it still achieves the same result that we're looking for, the goal, which is to get rid of the debt. And unfortunately, when people come to us with what we would consider like the barn is on fire, we have to look for ways to get it out and save as many animals as possible, and that's what we're looking at, and that was able to to do that. But it is very rewarding, and I really love it when clients say, what would I have done without you, or you've changed my life. We work with single parents. We work with people whose children were ill. We work with people who've lost spouses. We work, in all different circumstances where people have serious hardships, when they're on the verge of losing their business. I had a client just the other day who is really concerned about a business lien as a result of a business loan where they signed what's called a confession of judgment, and now they're really concerned that their business bank accounts are going to get frozen and they won't be able to operate their business, and we're going to go in and file some motions and try to fix that. And he walked out of the office saying, "I'm so happy that I found you." It's really tough when you're on the other end, when you're on the debtor end, and you're really not sure who you can trust, and really what is going to make an impact on your life that's going to help you. Because you hear so many stories now about, you better be careful doing this, and you need to be careful doing that, and how do you trust somebody? And again, it really is about your gut instinct, and it's about how those services are going to make an impact. And I can promise you, if I take you in as a client, we will make a good impact and a positive impact.
Yeah, I have a question for you, because I was excited to hear that you wrote a book on the subject, which I love the title, Life and Debt. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. So my the book Life and Debt was written as not the typical debt-free book. Over the years, my position has been you can't get out of debt. You just can't. It's part of life. And it is something that people need to embrace and understand, that we all have debt. And that means whether the debt is good or bad. And I really am a very positive person, and I work with my clients to work on taking a positive approach to the debt. So it exists, but how can we manage it so it works for us? And that's really what the book is about. It's about giving people some tools and some knowledge and an understanding, basically, of how to live with the debt, embrace it to the extent that you can manage it, and that when you take on debt, that you take it on because you know what you're doing, and it works with your budget, and it actually enhances your life. I mean, there is a lot of positive debt. Truthfully, student loan is a positive debt. It helps you. It's an investment in your future, and it helps you get from point A to point B, and it's positive debt. It becomes negative when it's not well thought out, and the career that you've chosen is going to not earn enough money to repay it. So there's the thought process early on, and that's really where the book Life and Debt comes in. I really wrote it with the concept that I wanted people to start thinking about debt, that it's good, it's okay. I mean, I like having debt because I have a house and I have a car, and I'm happy that somebody thought enough about me to give me the credit to be able to purchase the home that my family lives in. And the only time that debt becomes bad is when it's not well thought out, or something has happened in your life where it turns that debt into bad debt because you can't pay. And that's when I certainly come in and I can turn that debt around. But that's really what the book is about. It does have some budgeting. It's also suitable for people who are going through life transitions, marriage, divorce, death of a spouse or a partner, retirement, and certainly those who are struggling to keep up with the Joneses. It was really, again, there's so many debt help books, how to get out of debt, and it's not that they are to be discounted. It's just that my approach with the book Life and Debt was really atypical. Let's live with it. Let's understand it, and let's accept it as part of life here where we live, and let's make it work for us.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is debt resolution attorney Leslie H. Tayne, Esquire. My name is Donyshia Boston Hill with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Okay, so maybe you didn't finish or broke your New Year's resolution to get to the gym or start that project you had kept on the back burner since, the dawn of time. I get it. That's okay. But there's one thing you can do to get back that inspiration, that can-do spirit. Perhaps you or someone you know has a vehicle that they don't drive anymore. Why not consider donating it to the National Federation of the Blind? All you have to do is call 866-282-7327. That's 866-282-7327. You can also log online to nfb.org and click donate. And maybe you know someone that's blind. You can reach out to NFB at nfb.org nfb.org. That's NFB at nfb.org. So what do you have to lose? You have everything to gain by helping someone in need, like your motivation. Oh, and a tax deduction. So why not get started today? And remember, charity is only a phone call away.
And welcome back to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Donyshia Boston Hill, along with Ray Schwetz, and our guest today is debt resolution attorney Leslie H. Tayne, Esquire. Now, Leslie, when we hear debt, that just takes you into sometimes that just spirals people into a place of stress. And we want to know just if that's something you're doing 24/7, 7 days a week with your company, how do you stay motivated and what keeps you from being depressed?
I am far from depressed. I am the voice of positive and certainly reason when it comes to this. I love what I do so much. There is not one piece of or aspect of my business that I see as a negative in any way, shape, or form. And I tell my clients, there is no ball that you could pitch to me in this arena that I can't hit. So I feel that because I have the experience and the knowledge and the tools, and certainly I have the compassion for my clients. So there's a difference between that compassion and living their life. So and taking on what other people have going for them. I sit with them. We discuss what's happening. I can make the suggestions. I feel in so many ways that I'm like a debt therapist because people come to me, and the reasons why they have financial issues could range from they're getting divorced. They have so they're telling me everything that's going on in their life, and I understand, and I'm extremely understanding. I'm a good listener, and I'm a good strategist in terms of helping people find the light where they don't see any light. So I never get depressed. I feel for my clients for sure. I do think about their situations. I'm sure I don't know if they know that, but I think about their situations when I'm not in the office. Sometimes it wakes me up in the middle of the night, or I'm thinking about it on a weekend. I do think about them a lot. As I said earlier, the one that impacted me this week was this older woman who is unfortunately in an unfortunate situation. So I do think about them and feel for them for sure, but I don't live it. So I know I can make the suggestions that I can fix it. The times I think that make me feel the most frustrated are when I have somebody who is not a good listener and somebody who doesn't trust me. And that has nothing to do with me. That lack of trust has to do with the individual and what their experiences have been and what they've gone through in their life. But it really has nothing to do with me. And sometimes we do get clients who are extremely difficult and negative and angry. And again, that really has nothing to do with me. It doesn't make me depressed. I find that I would say the most frustrating piece of my practice is when we get somebody who's, one, either not appreciative, and two, wants to lash out and say, it's your fault I have this situation, when in fact we know that it's clearly not. But I'm very understanding even in those circumstances as to what they've gone through, and I've learned over the years to have very thick skin. You cannot be in this business without having thick skin and an ability to tolerate all different kinds of people and understand that, to find the glass half full at all times. If you don't take on that type of attitude and motivation in certainly in this practice area, you won't last very long because it'll become very overwhelming, and you could allow not only the clients to eat you up, but the creditors. Don't forget, on the flip side of the client side is that I'm dealing with very difficult creditors.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see where that's going to be challenging. It's got to, as you said, and thinking about it from your perspective, I guess it must feel very positive, because I know if I have a problem and I leave it somewhere, I feel so much better. So it must be good when you have a client come to you and you see the relief on their face.
Totally, and that happens all the time. I have to tell you, I mean, we have a box of tissues on the conference room table, and 8 out of 10 people coming in start crying because the relief is so great from knowing that there's not only there's a solution, but there's support for that solution. And that brings me back to the point that we're just not like some online company that's calling you. My clients, I hug them, and they walk out feeling good. They know that I care about them, and that I'm going to do the best job I can do, and my team will do the best job we can do for them through the process.
Yeah, and that makes it so much easier because that's what really develops that trust when you develop a true relationship. Like you said, the fact that you wake up on a weekend thinking about a client, that says a lot. So I'm sure they appreciate that. Now, that said, what are some of the accomplishments that you are personally most proud of on your career?
I am certainly most proud of the longevity in this industry. In the debt settlement industry, there are a lot of fly-by-night companies that have come in and come out over the years. So I'm very proud of the fact that I've stuck to my to the building blocks of what I wanted to do: trust, reliability, and longevity. So those are not things that you generally see in this type of industry. So when I started building my practice 20 years ago, those were the base of my building blocks. I wanted to establish relationships that were meaningful with referral sources and certainly the creditors on the other side. So the credibility piece was really important to me, and it took a long time to build that and gain the trust not only of creditors but referral sources and certainly clients. So I am most proud of the fact that colleagues and even the creditors send me business too. So I really I get really excited about that. I've had district attorneys send me clients. I've had and that makes me feel really good. That tells me that people see a lot in me and my practice, and that reliability and trustworthiness is the thing that I'm most proud of in my career.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, and our guest today is debt resolution attorney Leslie H. Tayne, Esquire. Now, Leslie, you mentioned something that it's funny. I didn't really think about it at first. I thought to focus, on all the work that you do helping people with managing debt. But you also mentioned something about savings, of course. So could you tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do with helping people on the flip side of that, like once they get through the debt or once they're managing debt properly, how do you help them with saving?
So the way our process works is that the savings part comes in not even at the end of the process. We want clients to start saving from day one. So when we come up with the plan with them, we are discussing how we've cut out we look at a budget, we look at where things can be cut down, we look at where things could be renegotiated, and we look at the validity of the expenses that they have, and we're also looking at the payment that they were making to the creditors all along, and we cut that payment. So by cutting that payment, we suggest early on getting caught up on your day-to-day expenses, and then looking to take a piece of that savings and put it away. As time progresses, we're hoping that client is earning more money or they've been putting more money away, and we encourage them along the way to save money from the savings. So, for example, if you were paying out $1,000 a month towards your creditors and we're able to cut that payment to $500, and so there's essentially a $500 savings, but you were not meeting all your expenses at the $1,000. So now meet all of your expenses, and now what do you have left over? So that's a discussion that we have early on with our clients. At the end of the process, we're discussing, what they can do to better themselves in terms of not getting back into this type of cycle again, and what they can do with the extra money. And again, that's a very individual conversation. So some clients, savings make sense. Some clients have young children, and a 529 makes sense. Some clients, want to pay down. We have clients with second mortgages, and we're encouraging them to pay down second mortgages. There's a lot of, it really, again, depends on the individual circumstances as to what we advise them to use extra money for. But savings is something that we talk about from the moment they sit with me in the first meeting.
Now, Leslie, you receive many accolades, and there's a lot of great people that work alongside you. Can you share with us about your team and your firm and partners?
Sure. So I have a great team and people who've worked with me for many, many years at a time. Our main office is in Melville, but we have 4 other offices, and 2 in Westchester. One is White Plains, one is in Mount Kisco, Manhattan, and we are in the process of trying to open an office, several offices in the South Florida area. We're in talks with several different potential joint venturers in the Florida area and also in the Connecticut area to have additional offices. We feel that going through the law practice piece of it will be the most beneficial to clients as things pop up legally. It makes the most sense. My team, we've been together for a long time. The firm has been open and around since 2001, and we've helped thousands of people resolve their debt for fractions of the original amount. Our experience has helped uncover unique and incredible effective ways to negotiate with the creditors and debt collectors. And some of my staff have come from the debt collection world. I have several staff members who work for me who worked for the collection side, and now they've come over and worked for us. So we have a great perspective on knowing what goes on the other side. Debt by no means is an easy thing to deal with, and having people who have compassion and understanding for how people feel going into it is really, really important. So our team is composed of individuals who all share the passion for helping other people, and that carries through not just inside the office but outside the office as well.
Gotcha. Now, as we close, what's the one thing you'd like to leave us with? And then please give us your contact information where we can find you.
Sure. The one thing I want to leave you with is the fact that debt happens, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Do not feel ashamed about it. Don't feel that you did anything wrong. Debt happens. The most important piece is reaching out and getting the best possible help that you can find under the circumstances. Come sooner rather than later. Don't wait, because it generally doesn't get any better. And you can always come in for a consultation and find out what your options are, especially early on, and especially before you sign for a loan. And we encourage people in the student loan area to come and talk to us before they take on student loan debt, so that later on they don't actually become a client. So consider that as an option along the way. We do lots of consultations for every kind of debt imaginable. So we're here for you and make ourselves available to make it happen.
And what's your phone number, website?
So we are all over social media. You can find us at our website, which is www.taynelaw.com. That's spelled T as in Tom, A-Y, N like Nancy, E-L-A-W.com. You can find me personally on Twitter at Leslie H. Tayne, ESQ, and of course on LinkedIn. We can also find Tayne Law Group Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Tayne Law Group. Please follow us and get to know us. Our local phone number is 631-470-8204. We do have lots of great information. We always have puppy pictures on all our social media, since I help raise guide dogs for the Guide Dog Foundation and America's Vet Dogs out in Smithtown. So we always have office puppies. So please take a look at us on social media.
Very cool. And also, how do we get your book?
lifeanddebtbook.com or on Amazon. And if you want, you can certainly contact us directly. My marketing director is Leah, L-E-A, at TayneLawGroup.com, or TayneLaw.com, and you can certainly email and she'll make that happen.
Leslie, thank you. We'd like to leave you everyone with DB's philosophy: investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin.
Yes, Leslie, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston Hill, your co-hosts and producers. The creative director of Tower Talk Business Radio is Rudy Breedy. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available on iHeartRadio, as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk with you next week.